All right, it's 7:30. We're ready to go. We've got a short agenda, so welcome all to the um, January 13th, 2026 meeting of the Milton Conservation Commission. We are being recorded. We're meeting pursuant to the open meeting law. And as a matter of formality, we do two things. One, we invite everyone, members of the public, to speak up, ask questions, make comments. But please identify yourself. The meeting is being recorded, and that would be in conformance with the open meeting law. The second is that we identify ourselves, and let me just go right across the screen as I see it. Steve,
Steve Vivas here, conservation agent. Happy New Year, everyone.
Philip,
Philip Driscoll, Conservation Clerk.
Hans, you're on mute.
Hans Van Lingen, commission member.
Charlie,
Charlie Bosworth, commission member.
Tom,
Palmer, commission member.
Ingrid,
Ingrid Beatty, commission member.
Arthur.
Arthur Doyle, commission member.
All right, and I'm John Kiernan, commission member. And I think this is a record. I think it's the shortest agenda we've ever had, at least
Same.
since February of 1993. This is the shortest one I've seen.
Wow.
It's pretty good. So first on the list is Certificate of Compliance, 510 Highland Street. And Ned Cochran, I think you're here for the applicant, correct?
Yes, I am. On behalf of Roberta Williamson, the commission approved, issued an order of conditions April 2024, submitted an as-built plan and a certification from Dennis O'Brien, a land surveyor, that the work was completed in substantial compliance with the order and the plan, and I would ask that the commission issue a certificate of compliance.
All right, thank you. And Wendy, you've joined us. Can you introduce yourself for the record, please?
Yes, hi, good evening. I'm Wendy Garpo, one of the commissioners.
Thank you. Thanks, Ned. Steve, you've inspected the property, have you not?
Yes, I have. They've done a wonderful job.
All right. Can you address the deviations in the letter of attestation? Attestation is what I'm referring to as the substantial compliance with the approved plan.
I have not seen the letter.
Philip, there are two deviations mentioned in the letter. One was the retaining wall,
Yeah,
3 feet from the house.
Looks like the retaining wall is located 3 feet closer to the house, which would be 3 feet further away from the edge of the wetland.
Right. And the other one, the other deviation was
fresh
Philip.
stone walk added.
Please repeat that.
Crushed stone would be
A crushed stone walk was added.
325 square feet. I'm not sure exactly where, but that would be an impervious a pervious surface, and so would ask that the commission accept that as an appropriate modification.
I was there yesterday, and the crushed stone walk goes from one driveway, the right-hand side driveway, which is higher, to the left-hand side driveway, which is lower. And it's sort of like a nice little curvy walk. They did a good job with it.
And that's the front side of the house that is between the house and the Highland Street?
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
Looks very nice. I walked it yesterday. It was safe.
All right. Any questions from commission members? Are there abutters or members of the public that would like to be heard, ask a question, or make a comment? Seeing none, is there a motion to issue the certificate of compliance as being in substantial compliance with the approved plans?
So moved.
Thank you. That was moved by Ingrid. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Charlie. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to a voice vote. Hans, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Ingrid?
Yes.
Arthur?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
And I, John Kiernan, vote yes as well. That's unanimous. Thank you very much, Ned. Appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Happy New Year, all.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
All right, second on the agenda is invitation to the owner of 45 Riverside Avenue to come in to explain some issues in the site. I think this is a house that was it was purchased and remodeled or something, and there was some cutting across the street on actually on our land, uh, the uh, the marshland, and we invited the homeowner to come in tonight. So first question is, Philip, can you confirm that we sent the letter?
Yes, we did send the letter, certified mail.
All right. And was there a response to the letter?
As of Friday, January 9th, I believe, there was no response. I was not in the office yesterday or today.
Okay. Well, my suggestion is that we issue an enforcement order because we did the soft approach invitation. If we issue the enforcement order to come in and to explain the cutting in the wetlands in the resource area, which is our land, is in addition to being a resource area, the enforcement order would be recorded. To the extent that the owner has been non-responsive to our invitation, we may have to record this one ourselves, Philip. Can you make that happen?
Sure.
All right. So if we record that, then that'll be a cloud on the title, and that will leverage the person to come in. And I don't mean this to be coercive, but we have to get some response from them. Did you get the return on the certified letter?
No. I mean, as I said, John, I wasn't there yesterday or today, so it could have came then, but it did not come as of Friday the 9th.
All right.
And Philip, I did not see it on your desk yesterday.
Okay.
All right. Well, why don't we do it this way? Why don't we vote as to whether or not an enforcement order should issue to explain, to show cause why there shouldn't be some further action by the Conservation Commission unless there's an adequate explanation as to the cutting and the resource area owned by the Conservation Commission. And make that conditional upon receipt of that is, make the recording of the enforcement order conditional upon receipt of the green card for the certified mail. That is the return receipt requested. And if we receive that back, then we can record it. Otherwise, unless we have proof of notice to the homeowner, I think we have to make another effort to make contact with the homeowner. Does that sound like an appropriate approach?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, we have really two issues at hand with respect to this topic. As reflected in the letter of December 10th, I believe it was, to the person we believe is the owner of record, we discussed the fact that construction had taken place within the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, and I had done an approximate measurement with the house being approximately 60 feet from the wetland, and Steve confirmed that as well. So I just wanted to make sure that we look at this bilaterally, i.e. the absence of
cutting and the construction.
Pardon?
Both the cutting and the construction without a permit.
Yeah, and we know who built the house. We don't know who did the cutting.
Understood. Well, since that, and you and Steve have been out there and taken the measurements, I mean, that shows due diligence on our part. Then I would amend my suggestion and that we go forward and issue the restraining order to have them come in and show cause as to why we shouldn't take further action, and record it. I mean, to the extent that we have made an effort. Did somebody go and knock on the door? I know it looked like the house was empty for a while. It almost looked like it was a house flip. Is that correct?
We don't know, but the house has been reconstructed on the original foundation.
All right. Why don't we do this? Why don't we vote for an enforcement order to come in and show cause as to why further action should not be taken by the Conservation Commission? issue the order, send that by certified mail, and just hold off on the recording until such time as we get a response or we don't get a response within, I don't know, what's a fair amount of 10 days from the date of mailing? So hold back on the recording until we let 10 days go after the issuance of the certified letter.
Yeah.
That make sense?
Yep.
All right. Well,
And both Steve and I did the measurements by way of the town GIS map.
okay.
Yes, it's well within conservation jurisdiction.
Got it. Okay. So that's my motion that we issue an enforcement order to show cause, to come in and show cause as to why further action should not be implemented by the Conservation Commission. And if we issue that, send it certified mail, wait 10 days, and then record it with the Registry of Deeds. That's my motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it, John.
All right. Thanks, Wendy. Any discussion on that? We'll take a voice vote. Hans, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Ingrid?
Yes.
Arthur?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
And I, John Cannon, vote yes as well. That's good. That concludes our action items. First two on the agenda. Number three is new business. The only thing I can report, I give you kind of an update on the litigation front. And this is not litigation strategy, which would normally be reserved for executive session, but this is, public record. I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of what's happening at 648, 652 Canton Avenue. And I think I reported this last month, but the OADR did issue its recommended decision to support the superseding order of conditions of the DEP. And after discussion with town council, and we've addressed it at open meetings in the past, and after discussion with the select board, and Kate Conley, who was town council for this particular case, she was when Murphy, Heslahane, and Toomey was still town council, and she has retained this particular case. And we both, Kate and I, spoke to the select board, and they agreed and they voted to file an appeal if and when the commissioner accepts the recommendation of the OADR. OADR is the Office of Alternative Dispute Resolution. That's an administrative law judge who rendered the opinion, and the opinion was to support the DEP's superseding order, which denied our position, because remember, we voted to deny this permit, and they allowed the permit. And the reasoning of the OADR was, I suggest to you, is appealable. Because what they said was that it was outside of our jurisdiction, notwithstanding the 53,000 cubic feet, 53,000 cubic yards of fill coming in. The DEP's position is you have to wait until something actually happens within our jurisdiction. Even if it is, probable, doesn't matter. You have to wait for it. And I'm suggesting that we have an argument there that you can look at the natural and probable consequences of the condition, that is the 53,000 cubic feet, and anticipate it. So that's one issue. And the other issue is they said that we were not entitled to ask for additional information, which was mounding data, to see whether or not that 53,000 cubic feet of fill would impact the discharge system. So we asked for 4 points of additional data. The applicant refused to provide that data, and therefore we denied it, explaining we needed the data to test the efficacy of the design system. When it got to DEP, they said, well, you don't have jurisdiction in 3 of the 4 sites that we requested, but actually you do have jurisdiction, and we have jurisdiction for the 4th point, and therefore they requested the data. So they made a decision, or the judge made a decision, that our request for the data for 4 points The points are monitoring wells. We asked for four, and they said, oh, that's burdensome. They didn't have to answer it. But DEP asked for one, they gave it, and then they made a decision. So we have like an extra argument here, and that is at that point, when DEP agreed to request and did receive the data, the case should have been remanded to us for a decision on the new data, and it was not. So that's part of the decision, part of the appeal. The second point is that what the system does is it basically pipes the water around the project and dumps it into Wendell Brook. Wendell Brook, that's what it's referred to. I never knew it, but it's the brook that runs down the center of Wendell Park and discharges into Pine Tree Brook. That is 100% jurisdictional. And everybody, DEP agreed. Everybody agrees that's jurisdictional. So we're saying that triggers our jurisdiction, that we can ask for the data to determine whether or not the water they're putting into Wendell Brook. So that was our recommendation. That was Kate Conley's recommendation. The select board voted to approve the appeal. The only holdup is that the commissioner has not actually adopted the recommended decision yet. It was issued about a month ago. No action has been taken yet, but we anticipate, and certainly custom and practice is that the commissioner adopts the recommended decision of the administrative law judge. So we're just waiting. We're in a position that the appeal has been approved, and we're waiting on that one. That's new business.
Question, John.
Yes.
Where would our appeal be filed?
Oh, it goes to the Superior Court.
In Dedham.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And it's a dollar item. That's why it has to go to the select board, because they have to approve the funding for litigation, and they voted to do so.
I understand. Thanks.
All right. And the only other point of new business is that, and I'll defer to you, Tom. You may want to give us an update on the beaver issue subcommittee.
I don't have any new information other than my observations recently between Canton Ave and Harlan Street. And the picture behind me is of the lodge that's above the flood storage dam. There is a long dam there that goes from the Unkley Road berm over to Harlan Street. And when it was frozen, I was able to see most of it. Just above the dam is a lodge. It seemed to me that the dam was holding back about 2 feet of water. And because of that, the water level at the Harlan Street culvert is high enough to submerge the entire culvert. You can't see the either end of the culvert because it's underwater. And that's sort of an odd condition to be happening now when we're in a drought, as you mentioned in an email. You wouldn't expect that culvert to be flooded in a dry period. So it seems to me that that dam is already to cause the same problems that it's done in previous years. As far as my own activity with the subcommittee, all I've been trying to put together is perhaps a site visit with the beaver experts sometimes this spring, so we can pick their brains a little bit. I really don't have any more ambitious plan than that. That's where I am right now. It's an interesting, as a naturalist, it's an interesting phenomenon to see what's happening to our wetlands as they get a little more inundated than we're used to seeing them. That's the effect of these dams. It's raising water levels in various places.
All right. There was only one comment that I had, and I'll make it publicly, and just alert everybody that Tom has been very active with Mayor Khanna, who's the fellow at NEPRA, who's involved in this, and she appeared at our last meeting. And she did write an email, and I thought at one point suggested that there was some inconsistency in the DCR's analysis based upon Beaver Solutions, because she said in the 2024 report from Beaver Solutions to DCR, it was the Beaver Deceiver will work. And then in the 2025 report, it said it will not work. The issue to me is that those are two different locations, because the earlier analysis was done on if you consider Unquity Road heading towards Mattapan north, that analysis was done on the west side of Unquity, between the Yulin Rink and Unquity Road. And in 2025, the analysis was done upstream of the flood control dam. So there are two different locations, because when Marina Fernandez met with Beaver Solutions and they said the siphon technique will not work, that's the Beaver Deceiver technique. It's simply a siphon with a gate around the intake and the discharge. They said it wouldn't work because of the length of the dam at some, I don't know, 80 feet or so. So I just wanted that to be clear. I think she may have conflated two different locations in her analysis. But I think the important point is that NEPRA is involved in this. They're contributing to it. They're concerned about it. So I think we've got the right people looking at it and looking for the best solution from the natural resource perspective, including the beavers.
Thanks, John. I agree.
Okay.
The beavers aren't predictable. The area you're talking about between Yulin Rink, say, and all on the west side of Unquity, they started out by stuffing the three culverts that were under Old Harlan Street, and DCR went in with heavy equipment and kept unstuffing them. But they're not doing that anymore. Instead, they've gone nearer to Canton Ave, and there are now two dams between those culverts and Canton Ave. One that's really hard to see close to Steve Wells's house. The other one further down by Kevin Keating's house, which is much longer and more visible, but they're both holding enough water back that it's flooding over toward the rink. That area is iced over now, more so than it has been in the past. So that makes a total of 3 dams I know about. I also know about 3 lodges. So yeah, they're here and they're doing their stuff. I have one more piece of business. It's really a question. Can I move on to that?
You can.
Yeah. I'm working with people in Quincy called Quarry Hills Citizen Advocates. That's our name. We're concerned about the use of the public land by Quarry Hills and certain public amenities that ought to be available. At any rate, you may know that there's a complete turnover at the Quincy City Council, and there's only one counselor left from the former group, and the new counselors have a different attitude about the lease that Quarry Hills wants to renew. They have a home rule petition at the State House asking that certain state laws be waived, namely, I think, a 30-year limit on the lease of public land, and also the requirement to put out such leases to bid. They want waivers of both of those. And from the point of view of the people in Quincy, there shouldn't be a new lease until they've addressed some of these issues. At any rate, what I heard from them was Quarry Hills is now talking to Milton about renewing the lease in Milton. And I thought, why do Quincy and people in Quincy know who they're talking about in Milton, and I don't? So I'm asking you, do you know if Quarry Hills has approached the town of Milton about a renewal of the lease? And if so, where is that request? What's the status of it?
Tom, I know what you're talking about. I do not know that because
Uh-huh.
we're in a 50-year lease that started, what, 95 or so? I'm
Yeah,
guessing 94, 95, somewhere around there.
right. That's right.
Um, that's a 50-year lease. I have not heard that, although I think you have addressed this issue once before at a public meeting and indicated this would, if they were to try to renegotiate it, this would be a good time to open up the public walkways. Because
Yes,
because that's your issue, right? The public access
that's
to
right. That
the
access
trails.
to the Blue Hills Reservation that
Right, right.
existed before the project and that they shut off.
I'm not aware of any discussions with Quarry Hills. Is anybody else? I don't know. Arthur, have you heard anything? You're on mute.
I haven't recently.
Thank you.
I was at
My
the public hearing that Tom was at, what, Tom, maybe 6 months or so ago,
yeah.
and nothing's come to my attention since then.
All right. I talk
Okay.
to
Well,
Nick fairly regularly. I'll ask
yeah.
him to.
Thank you.
Okay.
As you say, John, the lease still has, I think, 20 years to run or something like that. So you might say, why do they need a new lease now? The explanation in Quincy was that if they got a new lease, they could borrow more money to develop more on that end, like a hotel. That's my guess. And that's what they said as to why they wanted the extension, I believe. And the extension would make the total term of the lease, I think, nearly 90 years. So it really would be a long-term lease. But that was my question, and I'll have to go back to my friends in Quincy and say, well, who was telling you they're talking to Milton? Because I don't know who they would talk to.
No, well, if there's anybody, it would have to be Nick, I would assume.
Yeah, I would think, yeah.
Arthur?
John, two things. Going back to Canton Ave topic, is
Yes.
there a time frame within which the commissioner has to issue their decision?
I don't think so. There may be in Kate Conley, that would be a good question for her, and I will ask her. In fact, I'm actually meeting with John Flynn Thursday and Steve Ivers because we're still working on. Some of you may remember that we have a conservation restriction that was bequeathed to us by 88 Milton Street, and we still haven't formalized it after these, I don't know, 11 years, maybe 10 years. So we're still working on the language. Yes, the first one that I thought we actually, the Conservation Commission had approved it, the selectmen had approved it, and then the EOEEA took a red line to it and just obliterated the language. So it sat fallow for quite a while, and now we're back, and John Flynn's got dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So I will, I'll ask that question when I'm there of Kate. The custom and practice is that it's usually within the month, but I don't know if there's a regulation that says it has to be done with a certain time frame. I don't know that.
I have another topic, John, if I may.
Sure.
And it's the Neponset River Watershed Association, which has been doing over a period of time an estuary study, which encompasses all of the lands in the estuary. And they're looking at a grant possibility for FY27, which would focus on the lands owned by Quincy and Milton. On the Milton side, from the ramp up to 93, going down to Quincy, and then Quincy beyond the radio stations to Harriet Avenue. Some of you might know where that is. And this would be for marsh restoration purposes, reditching of some of the channels in the marshland down there, 33 acres of which are ours. So I just wanted to let you know that that's on the table, that they're moving ahead, hopefully, with support from Quincy and Milton. And we may see some remediation there in terms of flooding, increased flooding that's been occurring, particularly in the area of Riverside Avenue.
Wow. Arthur, did you say they're going to be reditching?
Right, they can do a marsh restoration.
Yeah.
And part of the marsh restoration would be to take a look at erosion that occurs in the ditches.
Yeah.
And blocks the ditches so that the marsh can't work or function as it should for drainage purposes and flooding purposes.
So you're talking about like the old mosquito ditches from the
Yes, that's correct.
Conservation Corps?
Yeah.
And
Right.
there's been a change in thought, I think, on that, Wendy, because I know for the last 10 years or so, that was kind of disfavored. But Sean McCanty is the person that Arthur has been dealing with, and his email suggested that they were now interested in reviving those ditches. So I think it's back in vogue. I saw that as a change in technique myself when I saw it.
But for a different purpose, it's not for mosquito control, insect control, but rather for water flow. And not just water flow, but related to it, the flooding, which I mentioned, and the restoration of the marsh so that the marsh can be restored to its health. And that's a very fragile marsh because, as I may have mentioned in an earlier meeting, the silt that is supposed to come down in the Neponset River to restore that marsh for 200 years has been backed up by the Baker Dam.
Right. Right. Wow, it's really interesting. I'm looking forward to learning more about that.
Okay.
Thank you, Arthur.
You're very welcome.
Any other new business? Well, that's a short meeting. That's great. We don't have any site visits to schedule, so it looks like we can adjourn until the February date, which is what? Phil, do you have a date for February?
1 minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. February. It'd be February 10th.
February 10th. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hearing that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thanks, Arthur. Second? Ingrid,
I'll
you got it? Discussion? All in favor? Hans?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Ingrid? Charlie?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
And Arthur?
Yes. And can I just add a footnote, John,
Yes.
as we're closing? Wendy, to your point, there are probably 4 sessions on the MACC agenda for the February meeting out at the College of the Holy Cross on marshes in particular, and salt marshes and marsh restoration and preservation. That might be of interest to you.
Nice.
Right. Take a look at that because everybody, I assume everybody saw the email exchange with Philip. So when you sign up, I think Arthur and I have already selected the workshops that we'd like to attend. But take a look at it because if you open the website, it'll tell you what the workshops are. And if you're interested in going, I enjoy it. I think it's a pretty good take, and you pick up some good information, and it's a good networking opportunity. So just follow up with Philip because you're paying the fees, right, Philip? I think you.
Yeah.
We need you.
Well, the town will take care of the Conservation Commission will take care of them. Not
Right.
me personally.
Philip personally.
All right.
Thanks,
So, yeah,
John.
just
I'm
take a look at
leaning
those.
toward going.
What's that?
I'm leaning toward going.
Yeah, good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you. We'll talk before then, I'm sure, but we'll see you February 10th. We have to vote first. All right. All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Left everybody around. Perfect. Thanks. Good night, all.
So,
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
It's a record.
Night
Yeah.
all.
It is. It
Take
is.
care.
Bye.